Hello and welcome back to the Perth to Paisley podcast, episode number 124. Hearts made it a continued slump in form as they lost 2-1 to Kilmarnock at Rugby Park at the weekend. But we've got a lot of other things to talk about as well. It's probably going to be a more chatty episode. As ever, I am Daniel and I'm joined by Adam. Adam, how you doing?
I'm hunky dory, mate. How are you?
doing very well. We all know what this episode is going to be like. So,
I mean, why ask the question if you know the answer?
Well, it's going to be an interesting episode, 100%. But we do sadly have to start with a thing that is much more important than anything we're going to speak about today and puts everything in perspective. When we've been away, the Hearts fan base really sadly lost young 15-year-old Andrew McKinnon. An incredibly sad time. If you've been on Hearts social media in any capacity, I'm sure you've seen all the memories and tributes to him. His funeral car drove past Tynecastle a few days ago, and just we want to extend as a podcast our thoughts to Andrew's friends, family at the game this weekend at St Mirren. I believe there will be a minute's applause on the 15th minute for Andrew. So if anybody going, please do partake in that. His family will be there. So as a podcast, our thoughts go out to him and his family. In slightly happier news, this is an interesting episode for us as personally as a podcast, because whilst we've been away, we actually on Saturday hit the milestone of 100,000 total listeners to this show, which I was saying to Adam beforehand, I noticed it was the way the world works. Me and Adam decided to make this podcast. It was Adam's suggestion, as me and him drove back from Rugby Park after Hearts women played Kilmarnock women, and we just kind of thought, we're driving back, let's do this, see what happens. I will come to Adam in a minute. I can assume he's like me and didn't think we would ever be saying that sentence, that 100,000 people have listened to us. And listen, we absolutely know that there's other podcasts that do that in a month, a year, all this kind of pattern. But for two people who just thought, we'll do this, 10 people will listen in total. The support we receive is insane. The opportunities it's given us is incredible. And a massive thank you to everyone who listens, whether it be one episode or every episode. And I'm assuming, Adam, you share the same thoughts.
Yeah, it is baffling considering that I was just chucking out Hearts thoughts on some website that I created and it was total nonsense. And now here we are, as you say, 120 odd episodes deep. And we've managed to show kind of the bipolar nature of this football club, the incredible highs, the devastating lows, and everything else scattered in between. So yeah, thank you very much for your support, folks. It's not gone unnoticed.
And speaking of the crushing lows, well, that's where the positivity of this episode is probably going to end. As Hearts travel through to the location of the Perth to Paisley Podcast Foundation, Rugby Park, as we went to play Kilmarnock, a team who are really good against us when we play at home, and we have mixed results away from home, and this was very much one of those mixed results, putting it nicely. However, the big talking point was the shape changed. After weeks and weeks and weeks of playing a 3-5-2, Nielsen did ring in the changes, and the biggest one was the change of shape. So, Hearts lined up in a 4-3-3 with Xander Clark in goals, a back four of Stephen Kingsley, Kai Rolls, Toby Sibbick and Michael Smith, a midfield three of George Grant, Robert Snodgrass and Aresis Kiyomatsoglu, with a front three of Josh Snelly on the right, Alan Forrest on the left, and Lawrence Shankland in the number 9. The kind of big aspects of it was that James Hill was dropped after his Aberdeen performance, Barry Mackay was dropped after his season, Alex Cochrane was dropped after his Aberdeen performance, and it's so interesting to go back and looking at the tweets, seeing the team come out and the optimism and the happiness. But what did you make of the lineup when you saw it?
Talking about the optimism there, the optimism that then lasted until about 3:10 and then just gradually faded away. I was astonished, first and foremost. I was very pleased to see James Hill dropped. Surprised he dropped Cochrane, but I did think it was warranted given his Pittodrie performance. I know we're both big Alex Cochrane fans, but I thought that he might. You seemed pretty adamant that Cochrane would start. Did you not?
Yeah,
Or am I making that up?
No, I thought that Cochrane was almost. I thought, oh well, he had a very bad performance in Pittodrie. Let him kind of rebound back, but no, Nielsen was like, nah.
And I'm astonished most of all that Barry Mackay was somehow dropped.
Yeah.
I think what speaks volumes about this team selection, mate, is the fact that we see. And again, I've spoken about this numerous times. I don't want to bore folk, but I hate the numerical order in which Hearts put the team out. So then you're doing the mental maths in your head, and you're scrambling, you're trying to work out. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, is this? No, it can't. No, there's no way it's a back four. And I was working out, is it a back four? Is it a 4-2-3-1? Is it a 4-3-3? I couldn't believe what was transpiring. It was remarkable. And that proved the case as we started the match.
Well, this is the thing. So, just as a heads up, everybody, Hearts TV didn't do a highlights package for this. And was I rewatching the full 90 for this show? So, my notes.
Sportsy? Give Sportsy a watch, no?
I did, but even that was like
Terrible.
2 minutes. It was nothing.
Shocking programme.
So, I have 5 notes. 3 of them are goals, 1 of them's an injury, 1 of them's a red card. As they say, it's more of a discussion-based episode, but it's starting in the best possible way. 7 minutes in, Heo does very well to hold on to the ball in the middle of the park, who passes to Smith. Smith then plays an errant pass to the Killie left back, who then plays an errant pass back to his own defence, which is intercepted by Lawrence Shankland. Shankland has Gino as an option, and he's on the edge of the box, but he just does what a striker always does, and it can work out sometimes, but it definitely worked out this time as Shankland connects with it perfectly into the far corner. 7 minutes in, it's 1-0. We'd had a very positive 7 minutes as well. It was looking, we were both there on the opposite ends of the stand. It was going great.
I was thinking, what the hell happened? Like the last time I was there, it was Nathaniel Atkinson wonder goal that saved our bacon. I was thinking, oh my God, we've actually taken the lead here. Check my pulse. No, what a goal. What an unbelievable strike it is. From nothing, really. It's where the positivity really ends.
Well,
honest to God, I couldn't believe it. I actually was somewhat encouraged by the start. I thought they had a chance early on, if my memory serves, but again, not much the highlights back because I can't bring myself to do it given the nature of the goals. But yeah, we actually made an attack count, which was great. And it's just that, the irony that I was thinking of was everybody's been clamouring for Shankland to get back into the box. And he scores with a worldie from outside the box. But on the right-hand side of all places as well. So, yeah, he and Gino just chopping and changing. Don't know if it's New York or New Year. But, yeah, what a wonderful start. And I thought that, it would go from strength to strength. But it didn't appear that way.
It definitely didn't. But I want to try and cling on to the positivity for as long as we possibly can.
You do well. You do very well. Because I was going Toronto after that.
It's fine. I've got it.
I was literally hoarse as on Sunday morning. I got up for work. I was like, I'm so depressed. And then I was trying to listen to my voice and it just wasn't. There was stuff trying to come out and it just wasn't happening.
I want to speak about the shape. Because up until the next point I'm going to speak about, I thought it was evident how much more comfortable everybody was in that first 20 minutes. You could tell that. And again, I want to speak about Sibic kind of through this. I want Sibic to be the character we take as we go through this game.
Interesting.
Sibic was criticised a lot of the time for in a back two, much like Halkett was for a period of time as well. And you were like, oh God, the one worry about going to a back two is will Sibic kind of start to fall off a wee bit. But it's the story of the season, really, alongside Shankland, that Sibic just now is a really good centre-half, where he felt natural in it. Rolls clearly was more comfortable as part of a two. Smith was having a tough time in terms of when he was being ran at by Jones, but you could tell Smith was more comfortable taking the ball forward. Kingsley was doing the exact same. And Sibic twice in the opening kind of 50 minutes played this ping of a ball to Ginnelly that was just, I mean, Civic's
Two lovely balls because we were right
Yeah.
behind them as well, and you could see it.
And I know I've seen some people say Civic should be playing in the middle of the park because that's where he played when he was younger.
Yeah.
And he's got that passing range on him that he can just do that.
And that bit of athleticism as well that I feel like we
Yeah.
certainly don't have at the minute. You know, when we look at the two currently in there alongside George Grant, Robert Snodgrass is 105 and Keogh's, I mean, I've seen Milk turn quicker. So
it would be interesting to see when we don't have Devlin like we didn't have.
yes,
It would be interesting to see him there, and maybe a back to a Rolls and Kingsley with Cochrane at left back.
and then you still got Benny to come back into the equation as well.
100%.
So it like there should be options in that.
Yeah, definitely. And again, Shankland was far more central and up front. At Forrest, he had a tough time, but there was a number of times in the first half where he just got the ball down and ran, and I was like, we've missed that as well. Like,
I feel really sorry for Alan Forrest. You know?
So do I.
I really do. Like I see some fans criticise and say that I should send him back to Livy. I'm just like, he's not had a fair run at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all.
Yeah.
I think he and Ginnelly should give opposing fullbacks problems most weeks in the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah.
And then you've got more space, hopefully, in the middle to work it. I don't know whether going 2 up might be an issue, whether we could perhaps go to that and sort of have one box to box and one sitting midfielder, or just a box to box and somebody to just get in and around the final third. I don't know. But the 4-3-3, like, I was happy with it.
Yeah.
To start, I thought it was actually it was looking good.
Right. Well,
Right.
I tried. That's the positivity.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Like, where do you start? Do we just talk through the match action?
I'm gonna say here's where we'll start.
I'm trying to be as positive as I can here, and this is really tough. I don't know how you do this on a weekly basis.
We'll start with the equaliser because 22 minutes in, with their first vague chance,
really annoying.
First vague chance, Liam Donnelly picks up the ball on the edge of the box and hits a speculative effort. He's not trying to find a corner. He's just trying to hit it in the direction of the goal.
Virtually straight at Xander Clark.
Yeah, absolutely. No one's shutting him down. Grant stands off him completely.
Shock horror.
Goes into Clark, and I've seen it back, and there's more movement on the ball than I thought. Not enough for it not to be a massive mistake, but I think Clark thinks it's coming straight at him, and he thinks it's going to move, so goes to move. It hits his chest, rebounds forward. Vassell is doing what any good penalty box striker should be doing, attacking the rebound. He gets to it first, and Clark brings him down. I don't know about you. As I say, you were there. The penalty was then scored by Danny Armstrong. I don't know about you. I was like, that's a definite penalty. It's an absolute stonewaller. I know it went to VAR for a possible offside, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know that. I wasn't looking at Vassell. But in terms of the contact that Clark made on Vassell, I was like, this is definitely a pen.
Yeah, again, perhaps watching it through maroon tinted specs, I thought I actually didn't see much in it. And then it's only when I've watched the highlights back that I'm like, yeah, you catch some clear as day.
Yeah.
It's a definite spot kick. And it's so infuriating.
Because it was their first chance.
As you rightly say, it's the first time that they come forward. And you're like, oh, I was just thinking, how annoying is that?
Yeah.
I know that we hadn't set the header alight by any manner of means, but at least we've got something to cling on to.
And we were defending very comfortably. Like, our defence had no issues, really.
Again, it's like, you could go through that back four, and it's like, oh, I don't know. Again, the two centre-halves I'm not going to go in on.
I don't think the defence are much at fault for either goal.
No, I think Clark's at fault for both goals. But I just watched Stephen Kingsley and Michael Smith on Saturday, and I thought to myself, those two are just a shadow of their former selves.
Yeah, that's fair.
Smith in particular, I think, for me.
I think Smith improved in the second half.
He did, but Jordan Jones has, like, the last few years of his career have gone spiraled.
Yeah.
Like, it was ever since that Rangers move, really.
Yeah.
He'd earned that being shit hot at Killie's first spell, got his move to Rangers, has since been at Sunderland, Wigan, like a couple other clubs, I think.
St Mirren.
St Mirren. And you just, I thought there was a player in there, but I mean, Michael Smith made him look like Ronaldinho on that left flank. And it kills me. I got talking to somebody in the crowd about this because Hearts were so set in their ways to sign Callum Patterson in January and didn't identify anybody else.
There was no backup.
No. Which to me is criminal because that has been our weakest area all season.
Yeah, definitely.
By some stretch. And again, like, I then think to myself, well, in the summer, you know, there's been Nicky Devlin mentioned, who I would certainly take on a free transfer from Livingston. I think that's an absolute no-brainer. Callum Patterson's again out of contract. So do you go in for both, use Patterson as a kind of squad player to fill in here, there and everywhere, and have Devlin start at right back? Or do you start with Patterson at right back? If Robbie's so insistent on a 3-4-3, Callum Patterson's perfect on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
But my annoyance is that there was nobody else that could take that mantle, given he got back in the Wednesday team and they were on a bit of a run.
Yeah, why is our recruitment team not identifying another backup? Why is Savage not talking to Nielsen going, oh, by the way, we're probably not going to get Patterson. I've got this guy for you who is similar.
It's so uncharacteristic of Joe Savage and whoever else is doing this MacIver, because I heard Joe Savage speak to This Is My Story, and he was, I can remember it clear as day. He was saying, if this player wants however much, they'll be told no, and we'll go in for somebody else.
Yeah,
it seemed like he has an array of options in each particular area, yet in this one instance, that's not the case.
Yeah,
and I want to know why, because I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that we've been needing a right back or a right wing back for, months.
And I'll say, listen, I'm still a big fan of Smith, and I'm probably more of a fan of Smith still than a lot of people. I think, especially at home, against most teams in this league, Smith will be fine.
I agree with you there. But again, I think
it can't be our starting right back for a season.
No. It's sentiment here that we're clinging on to. I love Michael Smith. You love Michael Smith. Most Hearts fans love Michael Smith. We're all desperate to see him lift a trophy. He probably won't get that chance now. It's time to move on.
But I think, though, he will be thinking the same thing. I think he'll have, 34 now?
Yeah.
I think he'll have thought at the start of the season, right, I'll get maybe 15 games where we're playing, especially with Europe and all that kind of
I think that was reflected in the contract that he signed as well, where it was triggered by the appearances, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was like, right, listen, I'm 34 and I've got a bad back.
I'm dwindling down.
Yeah, they've signed this youngster, this 22-year-old who's the one for the future. Right, he'll be playing most games. I'll fill in against your Ross Counties at home, your whoever at home. But instead, Atkinson's been a complete failure of a signing. So Smith has had to then go, oh, right, okay. I'm
having to fill in week in, week out at 34. Yeah. And again, with the shape that Robbie wants to play the 3-4-3, fullbacks, the wing backs do a heck of a lot of the work. Exactly, they're providing the width. Yeah. And if you've got a 34-year-old play week in, week out, I mean, even I can see that that's not going to bode well.
Well, speaking about signing.
And Kingsley on the other flank as well. Don't think I'm letting him off. Yeah. What the hell's happened to him, man? What is going on?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Again,
Cochrane in a 3-4-3, Cochrane's the man. Kingsley should be all right in a flat back four. Saturday again, I'm watching him like.
My issue with Kingsley on Saturday
what's going on.
Wasn't his defending. I was like, that's for Kingsley's defending.
No, because I can't remember them getting the better of us on the right. I mean, Armstrong was playing on the right-hand side. You'd forget he was even playing by the penalty that he scored.
Yeah.
With all due respect.
The problem was that Kingsley was the most ineffectual going forward.
Yes.
Out of all
I
of them.
agree. Fully agree with that.
And you noticed it as soon as he got subbed. Cochrane had a very shaky opening 5-10 minutes when he came on. He got done a couple of times.
I'm not being funny. Being thrown on in that environment.
Yeah.
What do you expect him to do?
But then Cochrane was the one driving us forward once again. Speaking about replacements, I think this moment, more than anything, is the reason we won't finish third. because in the 34th minute, Xander Clark takes a goal kick and kicks it straight out of play. And you're like, oh, that's a bit weird.
Is that the one on the right-hand side looking for Gino?
Yep.
Yeah, I can still visualise it. That's
that's
how angry I was and how bad it was.
That's a bit strange. And then he just sits down.
Falls to the ground, yeah.
And grabs his hamstring. And in that moment, I went, that's it. Third's gone. That's it. It's done. I think it doesn't matter. That's maybe why I'm a bit more not as invested or involved in the Nielsen in or out chat, because I think it now is irrelevant. Pep could come in for the final 8 games of the season, and absolutely no disrespect to Ross Stewart. He's evidently a lovely guy. He had that game against Celtic where it's like he proved a lot of people wrong despite conceding 2. But
me wrong.
Yeah,
but he's
absolutely.
Just not of that caliber.
But you cannot. The worry is we've got 2 derbies to play. We've got Aberdeen to play. We've got St Mirren this weekend to play. He's our
Livingston
keeper.
Or whoever else in the other tops. Like, oh god,
he's our keeper going into the most important time of the season. And again, I don't
imagine
want
what
to be
the
like,
Old Firm will do against him. Holy
well, he was quite good against Celtic. Maybe he's just really good against the Old Firm. But
he's busy. He's brilliant.
Yeah, I've seen the still of Clark. I cannot believe. I know this might not be an actual thing.
I'm going to say the metal studs.
What is he doing wearing metal studs?
Mate, I know. And then you get these bans online that say, "Oh, it's a goalkeeper thing," or "Oh, it should be expected." I'm sorry, with a club that has notoriously as poor an injury record as we do, who sanctioned that? Who approved that and thought that was a good idea?
I love the idea that he snuck them in. Like he's been given blades. It's like, aye, fine, no worries.
Yeah. Nip down to Sports Direct, get a couple of solid decos, and just let me do my thing. Honest to God. So, who's that coming from? Like, nobody has shouldered this responsibility. I know it's a tiny little issue, but ultimately Clark is at fault for both goals. Who approved that? Is it Paul Gallagher? Is it Robbie? Is it Lee McCullough?
It's probably
Is it
not.
Gordon Forrest? Is it Xander himself? I don't know.
I think it'll be Xander choosing to wear them.
Why?
I don't know. But we are sat here on the 4th, Tuesday the 4th, and today Barry Anderson interviewed Ross Stewart, and the club, the story coming out from the club is that they're waiting as long as possible to confirm Xander if he'll be in or out this weekend.
Yeah.
We played a closed doors friendly the day at Rickerton, and Xander wasn't there at all.
Oh, that's encouraging.
And because they're like, no, we're not risking it at all. Just don't do anything. And they're hoping because I think
the weekend, yeah.
But I think it's actually for longer than that. I think it might be right. Stewart plays this weekend and gives Xander
back in for the
2
derby,
weeks, basically.
Oh, Jesus.
And allow him to do that.
Oh my God! Imagine being thrown back in at Easter Road to play in goal. I would tap my pants.
Well,
can I just say though, like in mixed reports, mixed signals again from those that claim to be ITK. You get folk that say that he's out for the season. Yeah. Folk that say he's going to be all right for the weekend. I'm like,
yeah. There are differences in.
If I hear it from the duck's mouth himself, I'll go with that. Yeah. Thanks very much for wasting my time.
Well, it was easily the worst half for Xander Clark in a Hearts jersey.
Just talk about the second goal now.
Well, that's what I was about to do.
Oh my God! Yeah, sorry. I've seen Hearts concede many goals, many shit goals at that. This could well top the lot. In recent memory, I'm trying to think of other terrible goals that we've conceded, but this could well be it.
Not even terrible goals. I think if you said to somebody who wasn't at the game, but that we conceded, and you went, guess how we conceded, they would go a cross into the box that isn't challenged for.
Oh.
So,
and of course, it had to be. Yeah, it had to be him doing it.
So, Jordan Jones and Danny Armstrong have the ball. They're playing a wee couple of 1-2s on the far side. Armstrong swings it in. Clark goes to punch it, and I think everyone is giving him this benefit of the doubt. He's hurt, so can't get out as quickly as he normally could. And as a result, just flies in midair, simultaneously taking out Rolls, so Rolls can't do anything as he's underneath him. The ball bounces off Christian Doidge's knee to get his first goal.
He knows nothing about it.
No. And with basically the last kick of the ball in the half.
I think it's only his second goal, but it's his first in a good few months.
Apologies.
But again, like it's so predictable. It's not even funny. I honestly thought to myself, if anybody's going to score, it's going to be Joe Wright, given that we had him on trial.
Oh, that was the chance. Joe Wright at the very start. He swung in a free kick to the back post, and he
that's right.
He missed it.
That's right. Joe Wright or Ash Taylor or I don't know, some other jobber, but Christian Doidge. Christian Doidge, man. 2023, and it's Christian Doidge scoring goals in his part of the goal. Oh, this club are going to be the death of me.
So that brings it to the end of the first half. You're thinking, right. For me, the big takeaway was this. After the penalty goes in, this side have been rightly, throughout a large part of the season, being praised for their mental stability and steel. There's been so many games, Motherwell at home, Livingston at home, St Johnstone at home, where we've had things go against us like red cards or OG goals, or
you're just reminding me that Graham Carey goal at Tynecastle earlier on.
Same. I've just remembered that as well. Or
that was horrific.
We need something in the last second, like Livingston at home.
Or again, last trip to Rugby Park, Kyle Laffrey. What is it with us conceding shit goals at Rugby Park?
But this team has shown a lot of mental steel throughout the season, and they've been rightly praised for it. They are therefore rightly criticised when the last few games, Motherwell away, Aberdeen away, Killie away. I don't think it's any coincidence they're all away from home. But
none whatsoever.
The last 3 away games, excluding Celtic Park, because that's a different beast altogether. That's a separate thing. But those 3 games, we've went behind and it's just like, oh, that's it? Or we've not even went behind, we've conceded because we didn't go behind with the equaliser. And it's like, the midfield 3, the system is what I hope he sticks with. I hope he doesn't go, oh, it didn't work properly against Killie. Let's go back to the 3-5-2. No.
Just personnel within said system.
Yeah. That's the thing. Devlin was obviously missing because of his head knocking it for Australia. I am under no...
In a friendly. I mean, Jesus.
I am under no false illusions that I believe Devlin would have started that game if he was fit. I think that energy in the middle of the park.
I'm inclined to agree with that. What would you say at Keogh's expense?
Probably.
He's not dropping Snodgrass, is he?
Well, this is what we need to speak about. So Grant, 2 days beforehand, came out in an interview and was speaking about the general mood in the camp and stuff like that. And then he was asked about his own game time, and he said, "Yes, I'm very frustrated with my lack of game time, but I understand. You just keep going. I hope to take my opportunity." Me and you in the last few weeks have been saying Grant has been kind of one of our better midfielders when he's come on in his cameo appearances.
Thought he was shocking on Saturday, mind you.
That game, it's like, well, that's your chance. That's it. You've been put in from the start with bodies around you. And listen, I understand...
You and countless others are drinking in the last chance saloon here.
I understand people's frustrations with Keogh in that game. I felt a wee bit bad for him because I actually thought for the first half an hour he was pretty solid. There was a Keogh chant at one point because he won.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. He won like 3 challenges in a row and did that kind of like, yes thing. But then the final 15 minutes of Keogh's half was some of the most disastrous 15 minutes I've ever seen for somebody. So I'm like, for fuck's sake, Keogh. Right. But Grant, and we'll speak about Snodgrass later on, I think Grant was the weakest of those 3. And what you mentioned...
That. To be honest, mate, it probably speaks volumes that Keogh was the strongest of said 3.
Yeah, and I feel like this might just be a bubble
and
of
again,
social media and what I saw.
You just said it. Like, he was hung out to dry at various points within that game.
Yeah, I think
as he has
got the most amount of
performances.
criticism as well, which I feel... I'm not saying he's an amazing player and like that.
Most amount of criticism. I was going to say that's maybe a bit of a stretch, given there's been a fair amount of criticism going out the left, right, and centre
from the midfield 3.
But I don't know. I feel like Snodgrass has shouldered a lot of that blame.
But, right, let's speak about Snodgrass now because there's only one thing we'll speak about in the second half. Well, fuck it, we'll mention it now. In the second half, the only thing that happened to note ironically involved Grant, because Rory McKenzie goes in for a challenge on Grant that at the
Terrible
time
tackle.
I didn't really notice anything wrong with it because
No,
I wasn't
neither did
properly
I.
paying attention. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's a challenge. And then went out for a throw, and we didn't even get a foul. And I was kind of like, oh, what happened? But I could see, I was like, because I was on that side. So Grant was in front of me, and I was like, he's clearly in some discomfort as he jarred something, whatever. And then we hear through the tunnel, like, VR's checking for a red card. And then goes over, and when the ref, I can't remember who the ref was. When the ref goes over, it's a reasonably quick. He looks at three.
Ewan Anderson, no?
Maybe that does ring a bell. Aye. He only looks at it a couple of times, then goes and gives the red. It's not until I get back home and I put sports scene on. Listen, you especially in this podcast, very quick to criticise VAR at times, but you simultaneously then have to support it. That's a perfect use of VAR, where it's like, that would have been missed normally. It wasn't even given as a foul in the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's shocking.
Yeah. You've perfectly summed it up. But for once, my frustration isn't at VAR. It's at Hearts after VAR.
Yeah.
VAR has given us a lifeline here. And we pissed it away.
We did.
You said it earlier on. You perfectly said it. Not at one point in that game did I feel, as soon as Hearts conceded, that they would go on and grab a second goal. Yeah. As soon as Kelly equalised from the pen, this might just be me, my own personal feeling, my own personal anger, frustration, depression. There was only ever one team that would go on and win that game, and it's not us.
Yeah, I think that's how I felt as well.
How can that be, McIver? How can that be?
Because it's some laugh. That's why it's just a laugh.
It's not, but it's not. It is, but it's not.
For the remaining half an hour, Killy ended up having more shots than us in that.
That is an embarrassment. That stat is a disgrace.
And this is where I want to go back to Toby Sibbick, as he is the narrator of this game. There was a moment in the 75th minute where Sibbick picks the ball up, and I wasn't aware of it at the game, but when you see the highlights back, you see Sibbick shout, "For fuck's sake, somebody move." Because he's holding the ball on the halfway line and he has rolls to his side, but then there's just no one. And when we've got a man advantage, how is that acceptable? And I feel so bad for Sibbick because, again, you see the reaction online, everyone's furious. And once again, which seems to be a common theme, that was awful, fucking terrible. Shankland and Sibbick were really good, fair play to them. And then everyone moves on, like, and it's justified. Both of them are consistently performing. Which is even more incredible that Sibbick is, considering we're getting beat every time. Sibbick was at fault for Aberdeen goals, absolutely. But generally, Sibbick's playing well still.
I was going to say, this is sort of the perfect symbolisation of where the squad's currently at. Toby Sibbick previously was, I don't want to say an outsider, but he was on the fringes. Mm-hmm. Confidence was low. He wasn't getting his game. He was asked to come in when arguably our best centre-half was unavailable and asked to do a job. Over time, Toby Sibbick has turned into one of our best performers this season. Probably one of our bright lights, if you will. Yeah. For him to have gone from zero to hero and be barking out orders, what does that say about the rest of the squad and where they're currently at? How have we fallen from such a level that a player that was deemed not good enough to start is all of a sudden the one that's barking out orders?
Thank you for using that phrase. I want to come back to that in a minute.
But I want to tie this in with Snodgrass as well, mate.
That's what I was going to do. That's literally what I was going to do.
That man is played in the Premier League. He scored a hat-trick for Scotland, which is a remarkable accomplishment. A young man making his second Kilmarnock start got the better of a bloke that's twice his age in the middle of the park.
So,
how can this be a thing?
There's a moment that perfectly sums it up. If you are a Hearts TV subscriber, or if you listened to the game or watched it internationally with Hearts TV commentary, it was Laurie and Rob Borthwick.
I think I heard about this.
So
Was it a Robert to Robert scenario?
It was a Robert to Robert scenario.
I did hear about this.
I think Rob and Laurie are excellent in commentary together. I think they work so well. They bounce off each other really well, and they're a lot of club TVs, I think, can be too biased.
100%. They're honest and as impartial as can be. I agree with that.
And they very often don't allow themselves to get dragged into kind of just being a fan. They're very good at their jobs. But I really respect that Rob he couldn't do it for one moment, where right at the end...
It was up to here, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was furious. He was clearly absolutely furious, fully justified. Where right at the very end, we got a free kick. Snodgrass swings in a terrible ball. First of all, it's easily claimed in the Kilmarnock goal. It's then thrown out. It ends up back, I can't remember exactly how, but it ends up back at Snodgrass's feet, and he just falls over under the lightest bit of pressure, and of course the referee doesn't give it, and Rob loses it. He just shouts, "Of course you're not going to get that, Robert. Of course you're not." And then Killy run forward and it end up run down the clock and we don't win. We have previously spoken about the fact when it came out a few weeks ago that it was like, should we give Snodgrass a new deal? What do we do? The fan base was a wee bit divided on that. I'm going to say the Twitter fan base is very united now, where it's just, it can't be given a new deal. Because if you've now been found out by every team in the division, if you're doing it against Celtic and Rangers and Hibs and Aberdeen who are having resurgences, it's like, fine, fair play, they're just good teams. But when you're playing against bottom of the league and they mark you out a game so you're completely ineffective, when you finally, because the adage everybody was always saying, it was like, all right, yeah, but we need to change the shape to get runners around and bodies around Snodgrass, and then I'll fix it. Well, he had two in beside him. I know they didn't have great games, but still, he still had that, and he was still marked at the game. And you're saying barking out orders about Civic. What really frustrated me was Snodgrass, right at the end of the first half, Keogh was fed a terrible pass by Snodgrass, and it went under Keogh's foot. So Keogh lost it, and Killy had a chance, and the fans are shouting. And Snodgrass is turning and screaming at Keogh. And in fairness to him, Keogh turns and screams back at him because it's, why were you giving me the ball in the first place? He's often speaking about accountability. Nielsen spoke about it in his press after the game, stuff like that. It's very easy to be shouting at people and telling them what to do when we're doing well and stuff like that. Because it's like, yeah, look, he's an experienced head. But it's like, see, when you're also shit, that must just get infuriating as a player when it's like, well, you're also contributing to us being terrible, but no one's shouting at you.
No, I thought of exactly that. I was like, Stephen Naismith came in, raised the level, his barking was justified.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Snodgrass's performance had been barking, so there's no way that it is justified when he's the one grilling orders. And again, like, it started so well. It looked like such a coup. It was like he just came in, changed the game. You know, his set-piece delivery was shit hot. I thought on a free transfer, 1 year deal, I thought that was a steal. And now it's just like
he's just been found out.
I think it was Paisley. I think
it was
the St Mirren game. Yeah, 100%. It was done a job on, and ever since then, and ironically, he gets the assist or he scores.
He scores for a cross.
Yeah, I was thinking he got the assist, but yeah, it goes all the way through. Baffling, absolutely baffling.
We've spoken about players, spoken about fans.
God.
Right.
Oh God!
We of course
That's
have
the bit
to
I'm
acknowledge
dreading
it.
the most.
So, Robbie Nielsen after the game, we've always made it clear you care about what managers say more than I do. Nielsen after it is a lot more. I don't know if blunt's the right word, but he's a lot more forceful. Where he's just like, "There's no point in talking."
I haven't seen him that aggressive since Alloa away.
Yeah, exactly. And you were right up there with it. He very much was just like, there's no point saying we're going to do this and that if we don't end up actually doing it. And I didn't hear it if this was immediately after the game, but I've seen today that he's apologised to the fan base that travelled. You and me, Adam. He apologised to you and me who travelled for the game.
Thanks, Robbie.
And he was saying that it was unacceptable. We need to get back, and that it wasn't an accusation, but kind of a suggestion that certain players are either thinking they're too good, thinking we've already won games, or just on the arse.
Is he talking about reimbursing me for my 20-minute journey?
I was about to say, you can't complain at all. I had a nightmare. There was an accident, the bypass, so the journey took even longer. It was a joke, man.
Oh dear. Look, I think this has been brewing for a little while. When you've heard Lauren Shanklin come out and talk about mentality, Robert Snodgrass come out and talk about, again, accountability, mentality, responsibility.
George Grant did it in that interview.
George Grant. This, and again, this isn't a Nielsen thing, because this has been, much like our struggles away from home, this has been a long burning issue. Actions speak louder than words. I'm sick. Like,
what do you make of Nielsen physically saying that?
If we were as good as we talk, we'd be the Gorgie Galacticos. We'd win everything. We'd piss absolutely everything if we corrected it next week. When next week never comes and it's never been corrected, we're made to look like total fannies.
What do you make of Nielsen actually saying that though? Like, not even just kind of doing that thing that managers do where it's like, oh, we'll come back and doing it. Oh, he actually said, there's no point in saying what I'm going to do. We need to actually do it.
That I liked, but it's a bit of the same old spiel. I mean, he was talking about fighting. I mean, did he actually watch the game on Saturday?
That's what he said though. He was like, there was no fight.
Yeah, right. So then come out and show it. Do you know what? I'm in two minds about the gaffer, just the same as I'm in two minds as to if we'll finish third or not. I'll look at the fixtures left. The Tynecastle games could see us finish third. They could prove the difference,
especially if Livingston get into the top six.
I've got it in front of me here. Yeah. So if the split goes as it should, albeit we'd have Celtic at home, we'd have Aberdeen at home, we'd have Hibs at home, which are two massive games.
Yeah.
Albeit we'd have to go to Paisley because we've got St Mirren at Tynecastle this coming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd also have Livingston in Gorgie again.
No, you've not included Rangers in that.
Rangers at Ibrox, I've thrown that away because Robbie, like, our record against Rangers,
yeah, so it's
there's no point bringing that up.
It's one of St Mirren or Livingston.
Yeah, well, it'd be St Mirren away or Livingston at home.
Or so Livingston at home, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want Livy.
We want Livy.
Yeah,
right.
Basically.
So this is it. Start consigning St Mirren on Saturday.
Yeah, seriously.
And it's looking good.
Who have Livy got?
Failure to do so.
I'll find out.
And I'd be patting my pants. I'll have a little look for you now. They're away to Motherwell.
Oh, they're going to get beat.
So kettlebell could be in full flow.
Yeah. So
I love how you just skipped over the around the grounds as well. I thought about saying that right.
Oh, who cares, man?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I mean, to be honest, Motherwell did us a favour.
Motherwell Hibs was funny because David Marshall was amazing.
Oh, brilliant! But can I just say, I'm going to come out and say this now.
Oh God,
Scottish FA and SPFL. I want Aberdeen done for match fixing. You're not telling me that Andy Considine, who spent 15 years at Aberdeen, just unintentionally gets sent off after 6 minutes and hands them a 1-0 win.
It's a fair point.
Did you see the goal?
Yeah, I did. Actually,
what?
Yeah, that's true.
Callum Davidson, I'm telling you, Neil Doncaster must condemn. That is match fixing at its finest. That is a joke. So, honestly, the SPFL and the SFA, they're all ganging up. They don't want us to finish third again. I know it. I'm on to you. That is a joke.
I'd be remiss not to ask you your thoughts of the publicity stunt that happened outside the new stand over the last couple of days.
And a fair few messages actually asking if it was me, as if I'm going to waste.
I'm not surprised.
Going all the way up there to do that. If it had been me, I'd have made it all caps or all lowercase.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
Look, do you know what it is, right? Not everybody agrees with everyone in life. That's the be all and end
This
all.
podcast is evident of that.
The epitome of that. But sometimes folk just step over the line. It's just
counterproductive, isn't it?
Look, if you're going to spray something, spray it somewhere else. Don't, like, the fact that it was on the badge, don't do that.
I think it was...
I wouldn't even have minded as much. I know this is a terrible thing to say. I wouldn't have minded as much if it was elsewhere on the plaza, just not on the badge.
Yeah, not the badge.
Anywhere but the badge.
I saw Hearts, though, say this on Twitter. I was like, that is spot on. It's like, regardless of the message behind it and all that, but it's like, we are the most dramatic fan base in the world, man. Hearts are just a soap opera, aren't we? Like, honestly, a soap opera club, both on and off the park. It's remarkable. As you mentioned, we've got St Mirren this weekend on Saturday. Whilst we've been going into this dire run and they've all been fucking away from home, I think we'll win. I think we'll win Saturday.
I know what you're going to say.
I don't know if I think we'll win. I don't know if I think we'll win. My point is...
St Mirren have a rank record at Tynecastle.
No, it was more just... We are unbeaten at Tynecastle outside the Old Firm for 15 months now.
31 out of 33 this season, as you correctly alluded to.
Like... One, I know that has to end at some point, so it would be very us for it to end.
Because St Mirren of all people.
Yeah, Curtis Main rattling.
Tony Watt.
Oh, God,
Tony Watt.
Forgot. But we are a different... It's so frustrating, but we're a very different side at Tynecastle.
I'm sorry. Like, Hearts turn 150 next year. How in 150 years has nobody got onto this? How has nobody got to the bottom of this?
It may come up in the quiz.
Oh, Jesus.
I've just remembered, though, as we're saying all this, Xander Clark isn't he fit? So I take it all back.
Tony Watt's got a point to prove.
Oh, God, actually. It's a 3-0 battering again! Right.
Mark O'Hara's on fire. We'll concede a daft penalty kick. He'll tuck it away.
He scored like 4 and 3 or something.
4 and 3, yeah.
What is the team that you would play?
Oof.
Imagine Clark is out, so Stewart's in goals.
Stewart in goal.
Either Stone or McFarlane's on the bench.
It's got to be Cochrane left back.
Mm-hmm.
I'd keep Rolls and Civic.
Yep.
Right back depends. I feel like Michael Smith's got that experience to sort of take the crowd criticism that will inevitably come on his shoulders, as opposed to Nathaniel Atkinson, who appears again low on confidence. Do you want to chuck him in that environment? Probably not. So the only change I'd make to the back four would be Cochrane in place of Kingsley.
Yep. I'd agree. So far, we're exactly the same.
In midfield, Devlin's not going to be back, is he?
I was just going to say, I have no idea if Devlin's fit or not. Act as if he is. If Devlin's available.
Do you know what? If Devlin's fit, I'd change it all up. I'd go Devlin and Halliday in front of the back four.
Interesting.
I'd have Grant at number 10. And I would have Ginnelly on the right, Forrest on the left, Shankland up front.
But we don't know what's happening with Devlin. We don't know what's happening.
If I was Andy Halliday, I'd be fuming, can I just say, given some of the performances in midfield in recent weeks.
He massively fell off and all, though. But he's had a very good, generally, season.
But do you think drastically as some of the others?
No, not
for me.
I'm going to act as if Devlin's fit. Okay. I'd play either Devlin and Keogh or Devlin and Halliday. I think either of them would be like, fine. I just don't think Snodgrass will play, by the way. Snodgrass will absolutely play,
yeah,
but I don't want him to. And I'd play Humphreys in the 10.
Oofed.
And use him as a sticking point and have Shankland play. We're going into the FM.
Off the shoulder.
Have Shankland play as like an advanced forward. Okay. So just Humphreys wins flick-ons. And just
make it
stick. Yeah. Because that was another thing. I couldn't believe Humphreys came on and played at right wing. His first thing was great, in fairness. He beat whoever was at left back and put a ball in. And then it was like
Dorset, yeah.
It was something like Kelly's average centre half size is 6'3". Like maybe put our unit up front and harry them.
That was my biggest frustration in the first half. As much as Shankland was expected to do absolutely everything on his own, how many times were they absolutely all over him?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not talking like manhandling.
Yeah.
Not even just right up his arse, just generally like arms on top and all that.
That was the other frustrating thing from a fan perspective, where people around me were shouting, "Stop passing it with the back, send it long." And it's like, to who?
Yeah, like, it's bread and butter for their centre halves.
We need to keep the ball on the deck. But I will say that if your team plays, I'd be equally as happy as my team playing.
Go on then. Who you had? Devlin and Halliday and
then
Humphreys and the
Forrest,
two wingers,
Gino, Shankland. So the only changes I would make is 2 with you, where you'd have Grant and Halliday. I'd potentially have Halliday or Keogh and then Humphreys. But if it was that team, I'd be more than fine with that.
But that's not.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Snodgrass will play. I think Mackay will come back in, despite being shit when he came on. Like useless.
Anonymous.
Yeah. Score prediction.
Jesus. Oh God. They'll score.
Yeah.
And it'll be toxic. Do we score more than 1 goal? A record against St Mirren at Tynecastle's good though. Yeah, I'm going to try and put a positive spin back on things and say 2-1 Hearts.
I was going to say me predicting draws has stopped working, so I'm going to stop doing that. And I was also going to say 2-1 us.
And yeah, I was going to go 1 each.
Well,
this draw theme.
No, with positivity, we're both going 2-1.
Do not fucking lose.
Exactly. And then we'll finish this up with a quiz. So there's no losing in this podcast.
I'm not the least bit arsed. I'm a lot calmer than I thought I'd be. I've got to be honest. I'm content with the episode. I don't care.
Well,
I'm a lot calmer than I thought I'd be. It's a good hour's worth of therapy. I don't really care about the quiz, if I'm honest, but let's do it.
Well, it's happening. 100,000 people are waiting to see if you can get this. So for
me to invariably get it wrong on the 50-50.
So last time out, you got 0 out of 5.
Shocker.
Let's see if we can improve. And we're starting with the 50-50.
Oh, God. Jesus. Get off on the wrong note.
So, on Saturday against Kilmarnock, Alex Cochrane made his 70th appearance for Hearts. True or false?
Oh. There's a very specific number, and I feel like that would be true that you've got, but something tells me if I go true, it'll be false, so I'm going to go false.
He's off to a great start. It's 1 for 1. It is false.
Yes. Come on.
It was his 80th appearance for Hearts.
Wow, really?
And just as a wee thing,
in one and a bit seasons.
Wow. This season, Cochrane has played 40 games for Hearts.
Bloody hell.
That includes appearances off the bench.
Yeah.
But he was also suspended for some and hurt.
Jesus.
So
what a guy.
I've seen some people say Cochrane's really fallen off. And it's like, yeah, because it's his second season in men's football. And he's had to play
second season
40
syndrome.
games.
And he's filling in here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah. So, 1 for 1.
Come on.
Now, apologies if this question's come up before. I couldn't remember.
Right, okay.
What was the aggregate scoreline against St Mirren last season?
Oh, God.
We played them 4 times.
Did we win all 4?
We did win all 4. I'll give you that.
We beat them 2-0 in Paisley. We beat them 2-0 at Tynecastle. We beat them 2-1 in Paisley. Why can I not think of the other game? Is this in all comps? Because we also played them in the Cup.
It's all comps.
Fucker.
I was hoping you'd forget about that game generally.
Oh, no, right, enough. Because we'd have only played them 3 times in the league. Yeah, right. So 2-0, 2-0 is 4-0.
Well done.
2-1 is 6-1. And then 4-2, 10-3 Hearts.
He's 2 for 2. It's 10-3 Hearts. Right. Question number 3. We've alluded to our bad away form in this podcast. So here's an interesting question for you. Since our 2005-06 Cup winning team, on average, how many away games do we win a season?
Is this not a multiple choice?
No.
Oh, God.
I'm putting one of the horrible questions in that you do for me.
God, that's stinking. Can I get, like, within one?
I will give you it within one either way.
Can't be many, if any.
So what is it? You play, like, on average, 16 away games?
Well, right. Well, this is where the split's stupid, because it should be 19 and 19, as far as I'm concerned, but it's not. Do you know what? I've got the figure in my head. I'm just going to go with it. I'll say 5, an ambitious 5.
He's got it spot on. It's
is that right?
5.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I'm very proud of myself there.
It's 4.9. So you round up to 5. Yeah.
God.
So yeah, we on average
5 on average.
5. And that's
not good enough, is it?
That's also that's Burley's team contributing to that. That is 2 championship season contributing to that as well.
Jesus. God, we must have had some horrific Premiership campaigns in that.
There was quite a few when it was 2 and 3. There was quite a few of them. And then finally the questions. Can he make it 4 for 4 in the questions?
I'd be very pleased, but it's no biggie.
Multiple choice. Now I'll be honest, this one's just to get in a wee dig at you.
It's not like you.
What is Robbie Nielsen's win percentage since returning to Hearts in his second spell? Is it A, 48%, B, 49.6%, C, 50.4%, or D, 51.3%?
Ooh.
Now this is just his second spell.
It'd be higher than that.
This is just his second spell. His first spell, if you're interested, 58%.
Bloody hell. I loved his first spell. I've got no plans for his first spell. Just the second spell.
So, 48, 49.6, 50.4, 51.3.
I could be the Hertz Da and do the whole 51.3 thing, but 50.4, I feel like that's... Don't know why it's popping out of me. I'll go with that.
You're going with C, 50.4. He's got all 4 questions right.
Come on.
I'll also say this.
I need to adopt this mindset when taking the quiz.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't care.
Give a shit.
Yeah. So yeah, that 50.4, since we've been alive, is the 3rd best Hearts win percentage manager, behind number 1, George Burley, who do you really count it in the same thing? Because he had a 75% win ratio. And number 2 is Robbie Nielsen in his first spell with 58.4. Nice. So since we've been alive, Nielsen is basically number 1 and 2 in win percentages.
Yeah, because Burley, what happened.
Yeah. So you're 4 for 4, and we're into the Who Am I?
Can
you get your first ever 5 for 5?
No.
I believe in you.
Somehow.
I believe in you.
Right. Come on, Adam. Get the thinking cap on.
I have played for 14 clubs, but never my country.
Jesus.
I have won a major cup competition in my homeland.
Okay.
I only made 15 appearances for Hearts across 2 seasons. According to his manager at the time, he was a fucking terrifying man. The club I made the most appearances for is known for cultivating one of the greatest strikers of the modern game. Who am I?
Ooh.
I've got this man's Wikipedia up.
I don't know who the greatest striker is, but I'm not going to ask that question. In my homeland. That's just very specific. Do I just go for the nationality straight away? I think I might.
You go for it?
Yeah, why not?
His nationality is Polish.
Polish. Some sausage rolls. Who have we had that's Polish and played for the Hertz? Oh, God. 14 clubs.
Yes.
So there's no point even like revealing all these off. Because I'll be here all night. Oh,
yeah,
God.
that clue was I played for 14 clubs, but never for my country.
So never for Poland. Oof.
I'll be very impressed if you get this.
Do you know what I've got in my head? It's not my answer, but I've
Mhm.
got in my head is somebody like Christian Novak. Don't give me that face. Because he's still playing. The way that you worded that makes it like he's retired, but you could just be doing this.
Is that your question?
No, hold on. I just asked for the years. Well, put it this way. If I ask for the years and you give me within Robbie's first spell in charge, I'm going to go Christian Novak. If you don't, then I'm fucked, and we'll just go with that. So, yeah, let's go for the years.
He featured for Hearts between 2009 and 2011.
Bollocks.
I have a feeling that's not where Christian Novak played for us.
Oh, God. 2009 and 2011.
Yep.
That screams Shaba. Is Adrian Morovic Polish? Seems like it. He's the only one that I can really think of other than that. Yeah, I said I don't care about the quiz. Adrian Morovic, final answer.
You're correct that Adrian Morovic is Polish, but he is not the polling question.
Ah, damn. Who is the polling question?
The polling question is Dawid Kucharewski.
We'd never got that.
Now,
never got that.
For YouTube viewers, I'm going to hold up a picture of this man.
I genuinely can't even remember what he looks like.
I would suggest Googling him.
Was it Kucharski or Kuchareski? How do you say it?
Kucharski, sorry.
Kucharski.
Look, that's a scary looking man.
Jesus.
So, I'll explain all the quotes.
Wouldn't have got that.
I played for 14 clubs, but never my country. He just played for a bunch of Polish sides and us, but never played for Poland. I won a major cup competition. He won the Polish Cup when he was at...
He's playing. He's 38.
Yeah, he is still playing, yeah. When he was at Lech Poznan, which is the club that Lewandowski came through.
Ah, okay.
And did very well before getting his move to Dortmund. I only made 15 appearances for Hearts across 2 seasons. He didn't feature at all in his second season. He made 15 appearances in the first season.
I should have listened to that clue because Morovic would have played more than 14 times. That was a silly guess.
According to his manager at the time, he was a fucking terrifying man.
Was it Shaba?
You were right with Shaba, but he got sacked in January.
So was it JJ?
JJ came in and described him as a fucking terrifying man.
I love Jim Jeffries.
Yeah.
What a guy.
So yeah, Dawid Kucharski.
That's a kick in the nads, but hey, I wouldn't have got that. Hey,
4 out of 5.
Yeah, that's an improvement. We take that.
Respectable.
And again, I didn't go as mental as I thought I would.
I'm so impressed with you.
Yeah,
I'm so impressed.
I've kept it cool. I've refrained it. But rest assured, we don't beat St Mirren.
The gap's going to be there's holes in that wall when we come in next time.
Just going to see a massive tunnel that'll have dug through to next door.
You've got your bed sheet out, Nielsen out on the
pyro just going off in the background here.
Your marker pens to paint out on the plaza, right on the badge.
Scribbled on my forehead. Nielsen out, just sat there, all depressed.
Well, hopefully we're actually delighted next time.
That would be nice.
That would be good. But we hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. As I said at the start of this, 100,000 of you have listened to this. That's mental and terrifying. We really do appreciate it. And
really do need to get a life.
Yeah, I know what he's doing. Man. If you want other people to listen to us, then please do share this podcast about. If you've enjoyed it, leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching us on YouTube, leave a like, comment, and subscribe as well. You can get us on all forms of podcast platforms as well. So anything. On social media, we're at Perth to Paisley on all forms of platforms. Then we've got an email, perthtopaisley@gmail.com, where you can fire us over anything you want there. Adam, where can they get you on social media?
You can get me on all socials at Adam T. Kendo. Fire us whoever you want to come on as well. I know that it might be boring with us two every week. We've obviously had Richard Cobb on. Anybody but him suggested would be great. So yeah, any guests that you want to see us have on, then feel free to hit us up. What about yourself, mate?
I'm at DMcIver22. We'll be back next week to hopefully discuss a lovely win at Tynecastle against St Mirren, a Xander Clark injury update, and anything else that happens in the week. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Come on, guys!